10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, my friends in Sasquatch land. Yet again, another Tuesday night, and welcome to all. Tonight, our guest will be Mr. Joe Pass, the Squatchin Cowboy himself. He is in studio and waiting to come on. I just want to start the show off by saying thank you to everybody who watched our new video last night. If I had known that I could have gone live with you all and chatted with you all during during the video, I would have definitely joined in. And I just want to say thank you for all the kind words. And it means a lot, the support, and that you guys are actually following what's going on, because we're getting some pretty good interactions here in Connecticut, and we want to get the word out. Most people don't know that Connecticut is 60% forested, and probably about 85% of that is state-owned land. So we have a lot of forest here, a lot of forest. So again, thank you. So let's get this show started, and we're going to bring out Mr. Joe Pass shortly. Hello, our new friend here at Discover Sasquatch, Mr. Joe Pass, ladies and gentlemen.
That's got to be the coolest intro I've ever had.
Hello, my friend. How are you tonight?
Fantastic.
Yeah, glad that you could make it on a Tuesday night. We are very, very excited to have you here in the Discover Sasquatch studios. That's for sure. Let's say hello to everybody in the chat real quick. Hey, BF Bud. I think Joe knows most of these people too. The Blue-Eyed Northern, Boots on the Ground with Barb is in the house. Mr. Pat McGuire is in the house. Hello to Ida Bustamante. I hope I said Bustamante. I hope I said that right. Mr. Michael Nelson Jr. is in the house, and glad you guys could all come here on your Tuesday night and share a little time with us. So, Mr. Pass, I have heard nothing but good things about you. I've obviously watched your videos, and you're a man that's well traveled, looking for the Sasquatch creature. Why don't you? We'll start the show off by tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what got you interested into the Sasquatch phenomena.
Well, just probably like 90% of the other people, the P&G film, But, when it first came out, I was 7 years old, and I was too busy out in the woods, running around. And, back then you could run around the woods all day and nobody mess with you, as a kid. And then I don't think I watched the P&G film till I was like 12, 1972, 73. And then shortly after that, the Legend of Boggy Creek comes along. But you know what got me is about the PNG film. When I first seen it, I was like, man, there's one creature walking around California. You know, I just thought there's one. You know, I didn't think there's be so many. And then I seen Legend of Boggy Creek, and of course, when I watched the Legend of Boggy Creek, I thought it was, you know, real. I thought that was like, I didn't think they were reenacting it. I thought it was the real deal. You know.
Right.
And I said, hey, man, that's in Arkansas. That's pretty close to me. You know, so there's two creatures in the United States walking around.
Right.
And,
Did you grow up in Oklahoma?
No, Texas. I'm born and raised in Texas.
Born and raised in Texas. Okay.
Dallas.
Dallas, Texas. Cowboy fan.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
5-1 Cowboy fan.
I haven't followed the football since they started kneeling for the national anthem, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you know, Jerry Jones said if you did that, you was fired. So
right. Yeah, I agree with them on that. So later on in life, what got you back in? What got you back in to start searching for these guys?
Well, you know, when I was growing up, you know, teenager girls got in the way, and I started rodeoing and went around, got married, and had kids, and you know, sports came along, so you know, got me a job driving a truck over the road. So I've been to all 48 states, and people say, "Oh man, you've seen a lot, all 48 states." And I said, "No, most of them I just drove straight through, so I didn't get to see a whole bunch of them." But I did that for 20 something years, and my knees gave out, and I had to have surgery on my knees replaced and stuff. So I just retired and on Social Security disability. So me and a buddy of mine, Kenny, we've been camping like for 30 years. You know, we've been camping all the time. Me and him was camping. And one day I was talking about, was out fishing, and we heard something in the woods, and I said, "Oh man, that sounded like a Bigfoot." And Kenny goes, "Oh, you believe in Bigfoot?" And I said, "Well, yeah, don't you?" And Kenny, you know, he was kind of a skeptic. He never did not believe, but he didn't really believe, you know. And so we said, my wife said one day, says, "Well, while y'all are out camping, why don't y'all just, you know, start looking for Bigfoot, you know, and video it and put it on YouTube." So that's kind of how it started, us doing the Bigfoot thing. And my wife said, "Oh, the Squatchin Cowboys." And Kenny didn't like the Cowboys part, so it just, the Squatchin Cowboy came to life then. My wife created all that. So thanks to my wife for all this, and everybody can say thanks to her that I'm here.
All right, that's awesome. So, what you have a passion that's like I haven't seen in, you know, I have a lot of friends, but you have this passion. You've been to the Bayou, you've been to Texas, you've been to Arkansas, you've been to Tennessee. I mean, you are all over the place looking for this creature. And how am I going to put this? Where would you, out of all these states, where would you set up home base and do all your investigation?
Southeast Oklahoma.
Southeast Oklahoma. Yep.
Hey, there's Connor, Bigfoot. Hi, Connor.
Yeah, there he is. He said, "Go Tribe. Love the hat, Chris." Yeah, it's Cowboys and Indians tonight, Connor. You know, right. You notice Cowboys, that's the theme. So Southeast Oklahoma, I've asked that. I actually had the Sisters of the Moon on here about a month ago, and I asked them where their favorite place would go for squatching, and they said Southeast Oklahoma. What is so special about Southeast Oklahoma?
Well, first off, it's beautiful there for one thing, and that's where we've had the most encounter. I'm not going to say encounters like six. I've never seen one up there, but activity, shall I say? We've had the most activity in Oklahoma. That's where Kenny was born into a true believer in Oklahoma.
You want to share the experience that turned him from?
Well, I'll go back. I'll go back and start. I went to Tallahena National Park to do a video. there was a jogger. There's like a 27-mile hiking trail that goes back up into the mountains up there. And he had an encounter when he walked across the trail in front of me. So I went up there to check it out and to see if me and Kenny if it'd be a good place for me and Kenny to go up there and camp and go squatching, you know. And that's the videos I had in Keith Bethel and Sabrina Bethel. Keith messaged me and says, "Hey man, I'm pretty close to there, and I had an encounter when I was 15." He says, "You should come on up here. We got like 3,500 acres or whatever it is. I can't remember what it is, but it's over 3,000 acres. And it's privately owned. Nobody goes up there, you know. It's him, his wife, and his dad lives down below him. And that's all the people that live on that 3,000 acres.
Oh.
And so he said, why don't y'all come on up here and go squatching and see if you can see anything?" So I said, "Okay, well, tell me the story." Now, this is his exact words. It's so funny, man. He was 15 years old riding his four-wheeler down what was a real rough logging trail down through there. And he was squirrel hunting. And he said he come across this creek. There's a lot of creeks down that run across the logging roads, you know. And he said all of a sudden this big old hairy creature come walking out of the woods, out of that creek. And he said, this is what was so funny. He said it looked like somebody got a wet poodle and dipped it in water, and where that Bigfoot stepped, it looked like he stomped that poodle down across the road. And he said it went up the side of the mountain. And he said he jumped off his four-wheeler, he had a single shot shotgun. And he said he started chasing that thing up the side of the mountain. And he said he got about 100 yards up there, and he says, "What in the hell am I doing?" So he ran back down, got his four-wheeler, and went on back down to the house, and he was all scared and everything. So anyway, we went up there. I never met Keith before. Now, check this out. We met at a Dollar General down in Tallahena, and he took us up to his place. Never met him before. He told us we could camp on his place, and he said, "You'll never be able to walk this whole land." He says, "Take my side-by-side, and y'all two can use a side-by-side and drive around the whole time we're there." So I thought that was pretty cool. We never met the guy. He said, take the side-by-side.
Well, that's
Anyway,
awesome.
we drove around most of the day, couldn't find a place to camp. It was getting late. So we decided to camp right here by this logging road. And like I said, it started getting dark, and King said, "I'm going to go set up a trail cam." There's a creek behind this little creek. And I said, "Okay, I'll finish setting up the tent." And so Kenny went about 45 yards, 50 yards down the creek to set up this trail cam. And he didn't tell me about this till later on. And he said that when he went down there to set that trail cam, he heard something rustling in the brush behind him. And he turned around and looked, and he said he didn't see nothing. And he turned back around and put his trail camera on. And then he sounded like a bull going through the woods. He said this thing just took out running through the woods down the creek. Well, he come on back up to the tent, and it was dark by then. And I said, "Well, I'm going to drive down the logging trail there to get some firewood." So I drove probably 60 yards, 65 yards down the trail, and I was picking, and there's no lights on this side by side. And I had one of those little knockoff Maglite cameras, you know, they're about that big. I mean, flashlights are about that big. And I picked up a cedar branch and broke it. I was going to throw it back of the side by side. And when I did that, I heard boom, boom, boom. And I stopped. I froze. I said, "What in the heck was that?" I turned around and shined my little light, and I couldn't see nothing. And I got thinking, I said, you know, if that's a Bigfoot, it just stopped what it was doing and turned around and was looking at me. So I jumped in that little side by side, and I don't think that side by side ever went as fast as it did as me getting back to camp. And King said, "What's wrong?" And I told him, and he told me about whatever it was taking out through the woods. And then later on that night, it was about, I'm going to say 12:30, 1 o'clock. We're just sitting around the fire. And King had this little voice recorders, and he was trying to get it to where it could be voice activated, you know. And all of a sudden, about 75 to 100 yards up the side of the hill across the road from us, we hear the loudest. I mean, you could tell a dead tree from a live tree when you bang on it. Whatever this was had a very big stick and was hitting a big tree, and it did 4 swings. Just real slow, bam, like it was drawing back, hitting this tree. And Ken's there trying to get this recorder going, and my mouth is dropped. I'm sitting there listening to what's going on. It did 4 knocks, paused for a few seconds, did 4 more knocks, then paused for a few seconds, and did two knocks. And that was just, we stayed up the rest of the night because we had no clue of what in the world did that. We was trying to debunk it any way we could. It couldn't have been Keith because we could have heard him coming up there. Any way you come up there, we was on the main road. The main logging road down through there. And there's nobody else around. They live about a mile down from us, and he's got a bad hip, so he couldn't walk up there and do that.
All right. Well, why would he wouldn't invite you to his property to scam you guys anyways?
Right. Oh, before that, I'll tell you what, we were sitting around, and I said, well, I'm going to see if I can't get the coyotes to go on something, because it's real quiet. And so I'm going to see what I can do. So I just went out there and did a real loud call. And sure enough, a couple of seconds later, the coyotes start busting out. And then about 30 minutes later, after the coyotes died down, there's a howl almost identical to what I did. And then the coyotes start busting out again.
Right.
And then after the coyotes died down, about 35, 40 minutes later is when we heard the tree knocks.
Right. So in your opinion, you had a Sasquatch encounter that night?
Yes.
Yeah.
And like I said, Kenny was a skeptic. And then after that night, he came out a true believer.
All right. Did it run at Kenny or did it run away from him? Could he tell
away
it?
From him.
It ran away? I was saying it might have bluff charged him if he was
But the thing about the creek where he was setting up the trail cam ran down and went across the road where I went down. So we think that Bigfoot went down that creek, and it was the same thing that he heard was down at the end of that creek, like it followed the creek down to cross the road.
Did it ever make its presence known again the rest of the trip, or was that it for that night?
That was it for the night. Everything, it was so creepy because everything was so silent. There was no birds, no
animals,
frogs, nothing. And we stayed up till the sun was just about to come up. Then we finally decided to go in there and go to bed because we didn't know what the heck that was. So, I never experienced anything like that.
Right. How many times have you experienced the woods turning off now that you've been out?
A lot.
Yeah.
My wife knows this a lot. We was down in a place called Adair, Oklahoma, which is north of like the northeast corner. And there's reports up there of a white Bigfoot. So we went up there to check it out. And we went up up the side of this mountain. And I guess we was pretty close to the top of it. And I really wasn't paying attention because I was videotaping. My wife says, listen. I stopped listening. I said, what? She goes, I don't hear nothing. It was, all the birds quit, and everything. And then there was somebody had told me that there was some elk back up in there. I never heard of elk in Oklahoma, but they said somebody had been a wildlife preserve, which was next to it. And then they got out and we heard something go off the side of the mountain, run through the briars, going down the side of the mountain. I never did see anything, so I'm not going to say it was a Bigfoot, but it was just kind of creepy how everything got real quiet. And then all of a sudden we hear that going down the side of the hill. And then after that, the birds started chirping and everything again.
Right. Yeah, we noticed that here.
The only thing I got out of that trip was 37 ticks off. I pulled 37 ticks off everyone else.
Yeah. People got to be careful. The ticks are getting worse every year. You notice that? It's awful. It's god awful. Even the moose here up north. Well, we have moose here in Connecticut now, and we don't have the birds here in Connecticut that eat the ticks off of the moose. I forgot their names, and Again, another animal that I forgot the name, native to Connecticut.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about there's a weasel in Connecticut that they just brought back, and I can't remember the name of it because it makes a cry like a baby crying. But the ticks get on the moose and they can't get rid of them. They get the infection. They don't
Yeah.
eat anymore, and it actually kills them. And it's awful to see them because they're just all their hair is gone. It's just an awful, awful sight. So bring back the birds that eat the ticks, is what I
Right.
say.
All right.
So it is. So do you do all your investigating with Kenny, or do you and the wife do a lot of that investigating, or you split it, or?
Well, when Kenny can't go, my wife goes.
Yeah.
And when my wife can't go, Kenny goes. But Kenny is a big deer hunter. And he's also into a lot of bass tournaments. So usually his bass tournaments and deer hunting coincide for when I want to go. So me and the wife go. My wife loves it.
Right, right.
She made one of the videos down in Fairfield.
She's hooked on it too. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
She was kind of a skeptic too, but some of the stuff, like I say, them footprints she found and the stuff we heard down in Fairfield Lake. I'll tell you the story about the Fairfield Lake one if you want.
Right. Yeah. Let's pull up those footprints first. If I can get the right footprints now. If I can remember the ones from Fairfield Lake.
I see Francesca's in chat. Hi, Francesca.
Is that the Fairfield Lake?
No, that's the one in statue right there.
All right, we're gonna go right down the line.
That's
here.
the one from Fairfield.
Okay.
That's set right there. They're all in rock. They're in a creek bed.
I think this one's a better one. Yeah, there we go. That's a little one.
Yeah, that's the little one. And you see it right in front of it is a bigger one, and then right on top of that is the even bigger one.
Right.
They're all right there together.
Were they all single? Were they all single tracks, or were there other prints around it too?
Well, they're right across where the creek bed is. You can see where the big one had stepped up to go up the creek bank, and then up on top of the creek bank, there's a barbed wire fence that had been pushed down, and a big old tree limb broke off, like where the Bigfoot might have grabbed the tree limb to step over the barbed wire fence and broke the limb off. But I wasn't there to see it, so I don't know if it's. I don't know. I can't say definitely if Bigfoot did that.
Right, right. But if you put the pieces together, you can come up with the opinion. I mean, that's all we can do. Like you said, we're not there. We're not filming it. We're not seeing it. But you put the pieces together, and in your opinion, Sasquatch went over that fence, grabbed that limb, it snapped, and made its way.
Because that's what it looked like. Because, like I said, there's 5 all together right there, and the big one looks like it stepped across the creek, up the little embankment there, and then there's one coming down the embankment into the creek. I'd say creek. It's just water running down the side of the road. It's a few inches deep, maybe. But they looked old too. But it was just two coincidences. It was right there all together, and all them prints right there together, and the same prints going like up the side of the hill.
Right. What's your opinion on them traveling the water routes? What do you stand on that?
I believe that. The first thing I do when I go out to do a search, I look on a map for a water source. And if there's no water source, I usually leave it alone, because everything's got a drink.
Right, right.
And then I look for a food source, deer, hogs, stuff like that, and which I think hogs are just about everywhere nowadays.
Yeah, we don't have them here yet, thank God.
Well, I'll send some to you. We got plenty to spare.
Yeah, no, I see all the shows. We don't want them here. That's for sure.
Joe Parker, I sure could send you some. He's done messing with his deer feeders. Maybe I'll tell you the story about the Fairfield one.
Okay.
This friend of Kenny's named Steve White, they're into big bass fishermen, and they were fishing up in this cove at Fairfield Lake. And he makes fun of me and Kenny, thinks we're just crazy as a loon, So there's no such thing as Bigfoot. And they went up in this cove up by the dam on Fairfield Lake. And there was a big down tree up on the bank, maybe about 10 yards up on the bank. He said it was a big tree too that fell down. And he said he's seen something that was big and black, and its arms were stretched out, like laying over the top of the log, and all you could see was his head, and big arms and shoulders, and arms. You couldn't see the rest of the body. And he started joking around with his friend saying, "Oh, that looks like a Bigfoot." And the guy said, "Yeah, somebody let a gorilla go down there, and it's just a big old gorilla." And they started saying, "No, it's just a bunch of shadows, just a bunch of BS, So they went fishing to another cove, and about an hour later, they came back to that cove, and that thing was gone. So that got my curiosity up. I said, "That sounds like a Bigfoot to me." I said, "It's like he was watching y'all fish."
So you guys went there and checked it out?
We've been there twice, and I'm going to go again too, because just got to watch some of the videos, man, because there's some stuff in there that I went out to make it. We were camping in the back of the truck. I had a little topper and a little tent thing on the back of the truck, And I just decided to walk down the end of this road and went into the main road. And as I was walking down there, I didn't hear it when I was doing it, but in the video, you can hear it off to the left of me. I hear a tree knock off in the distance. In the video, I couldn't hear it when I was, and then across the road from me, there's 3 different tree knocks. And then after the tree knocks, I hear a loud, it wasn't real loud, it was real low, just a woo, And then all of a sudden the coyotes start busting out, and the coyotes started busting out right behind my truck. And I'm down by this road, my wife's in the truck. And I said, "Oh God, man, I got to get back there." And I ain't got good knees. And I started trying to hightail it back there. And in the video, you can see where I cut the sound off because I was saying some bad things to hurt my knee.
Yeah. So, go ahead. Sorry. I was just moving.
It was just kind of like an amazing night because, like I said, I heard the 3 tree knocks. Not at the time, but in the video, there's 3 tree knocks in there. And then I hear that real low. I mean, it wasn't very loud, but you barely hear it. Then the coyotes start going. And I didn't make my call yet at the time.
So do you use calls and knocks when you're out there?
No, not really. Like I said, the reason I did the calls is, get something going, like the coyotes, And the tree knocks, I haven't done a tree knock, but I think if I heard one, I might, see if I couldn't get another response. And when I heard those 10 tree knocks up in Oklahoma, I walked out to the road and I couldn't find a stick. So I got 2 rocks and just banged them together. And, the way I feel about it, if somebody was out there trying to hoax me, they would have answered back to that.
Right.
And we heard nothing the rest of the night. I think somebody, if they were messing with us, they would have answered them rock knocks, saying, "Oh, we got him going now," so they do it again. But
right. I think those loud knocks that they do, the home run bat swing ones, are meant for you to hear. That's a warning to you, I think. The ones that are off in the distance, you hear the little taps just loud enough for you to catch.
Right.
I think they're communicating with others. And that's what we've come to think.
Well, the ones the 10 that we heard there, I didn't feel scared. I was just stunned that it was happening, I didn't feel threatened. It felt like he was telling me, like, "I'm here. Tread lightly,
Right.
Watch what you're doing."
Have you ever felt in danger?
Yes. And Hugo, I'm not going to say in danger, but I felt like I shouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was down at Hugo, and I was down on the Kiamichi River bottoms at the Hugo Lake, where it comes into Hugo Lake. And I walked off down on the bottoms, and I got way down there, and I wasn't having no problems. And all of a sudden, it comes to like a clearing to where the bottoms are, and the grass is probably, up to here high. And there's some dead trees back over and stuff. And this feeling came over me that, man, you shouldn't go down in there. You shouldn't do it. But I did. And then, I was having Bigfoot on the brain, and a lot of times when you have Bigfoot on the brain, everything you hear is a Bigfoot, Yep. Anyway, I stepped over this old dead tree, and there's a big old black spot off in these real tall weeds, and I'm like, "Oh, there it is," And I gathered myself and I started looking at it, I was by myself. And I got to looking at it like this, and it was a root ball of a tree. And I walk over and show everybody that's just a root ball of a tree. But I got out of there after that. I felt really uncomfortable down there. I felt like I shouldn't be there.
Right. Well, you got to trust your gut. You know, if you don't trust your gut, you got nothing to trust out there. That's for sure. If you guys got questions tonight for Joe, just put them all in capital letters, and we'll pass them on through to Joe.
Hey, I see Flat Rock Boogers in there. Hi, Flat Rock. I'm going down to his place probably next year. He's had a lot of stuff, man. He's got some interesting stuff. He got a lot of vocalizations that will just curl your socks.
Right. Yeah, there's so many people out there that are having great interactions, boots on the ground, investigators, but they don't get the attention that these bigwigs get and show you nothing all the time. And it kind of frustrates me to see that from people that work so hard like yourself. You're out there, you're traveling state to state, and now you got to get a part-time job to keep on going state to state because everything's so expensive. But these people that they get, it bothers me. They get money to do nothing.
Yeah.
And I really think it should go into a general fund and have a president and have them distribute it out to the people that are working hard and getting those recordings and putting because there's other things out in the woods that are going to get you. You get snake bit. You could break your ankle. I mean, you're not walking trails all the time. You're going off trail. You're going to where you think you need to go. And
when we was up in Oklahoma, I think the last time I go out by myself walking across this mountain, and I was gone about 2 hours walking out by myself out in the woods, up and down the mountains and stuff. And later on that night, Keith come back up and told me, so I forgot to tell you, man, there was a mountain lion spotted crossing the road down there. And I'm like, I said, why didn't you tell me that when I first came here?
Right. And that'll leave a mark. They'll leave a mark for sure.
Yeah.
If one of them jumps on your back, you might as well just say your prayers there. And
it don't matter if you have a gun, you're not going to be quicker than a cat,
No. No, I agree. So, where am I going to go next? So, technology wise, what do you use in the woods? Are you up to date on the technology, or do you got your own ways of approaching all that?
I ain't got nothing fancy. I can't afford nothing fancy. I bought my Canon T3i camera off of Facebook Marketplace. Paid $150 for it, and I thought I was high dollar then. And now I'm buying a new Canon. I keep saying new. It's new to me.
Yeah.
Canon Vixia camera, and it's got a mic hooked up to it. External mic hooked up to it. So I have some trail cams that I put up, and everybody says, "Oh, you'll never catch one on a trail cam." I say, one of these days, a Bigfoot's going to slip up, and I want to be ready.
Right. I'm going to share a picture of something that you caught on a trail camera, and it's pretty interesting to me. I have never seen one personally, but I believe that they're out there, and I don't know what it's all about, but you caught a pretty interesting orb. Here's the first picture, but here's a blown up picture of it. That's pretty crazy to me. That looks like a little face in there. And you want to give the little backstory on that?
That was taken in Oklahoma. I told you before, I got one of these real old trail cameras, and I'd set it up where it's pointing across the logging road, and then about 20 feet on the other side of the logging road, there was a bunch of dead trees where they had pushed them down for the logging road. So this was on the trail cam, I say 40 feet maybe, I guess, on the trail cam. So, and I still have no clue what it is. But it had to be something to set that trail cam off. I mean, some people said it's a drop of rain. Like I said, there's somebody said it was Bernie Sanders. And
yeah. Do you think these guys are out to hurt you, or they'd rather just scare you away before anything would happen?
I think that they're more like a bear when it comes to that, like a bear with cubs. If you corner them or mess with them, they can be dangerous. but I don't think they're out to hurt anybody.
Mm.
I mean, I'm sure there's records of them somewhere that they've killed people, but I don't think, if they know your intentions, I don't think they're going to mess with you. Like me, when we go out, we don't go out all camoed up. We don't be quiet. I think they're curious. I think that if you make noise, they want to come see what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny gets out there and plays his guitar sometimes. We just sit around a fire talking loud. We go out in the woods. I'm like a bird watcher, I'm walking around the woods whistling and stuff, So I think they're curious. I think they want to know what the heck you doing in my woods, So,
I agree with you 100%. The days that we are quiet and looking for them, nothing goes on, but we have learned just to go for a hike
just act
with
like
with your hammers.
normal,
Right. Yapping and talking, because they thrive on that. I agree with you 100%. It's funny how the people meet along this journey, and they all experiencing the same things. They all got the same ideas. It's all the same, and there's too much in common for this not to be true. It's just too much in common. Why is it, do you think, that they hide so well? Why won't they let people see them?
Because they know how we are. They probably think that we're trying to kill them.
They've been
And
watching.
the thing about the camo thing, like I say, who goes in the woods all camoed out? Hunters.
Yep.
And what do hunters have? Guns. And if they see somebody all camoed out walking in the woods, I think they're going to hightail it out of there because they think you got a gun.
Right.
So that's why we just go out. I'll be wearing this next time when I go down to Joe's place. I'll be wearing this.
Right. Yeah, I've been wearing the same camo print for 6 years, so they pretty much know my camo, and they know that.
I mean, I'll wear some camo. I'll wear a camo cap. And Kenny, I think his whole wardrobe is nothing but camo. But
I got the same issues.
But I mean, I'll wear camo, but I'm talking about, the face paint,
Right. No, I got you. It's
camo
all good.
underwear,
I got you. I got those too.
I imagine Joe Parker does too.
All right. So where are you heading next? What's coming up for you? Where are you gonna be heading?
Most likely going down to Blue-Eyed Northern Pat and Joe Parker's house in Natchitoches, Louisiana. And then I'm going back up to Oklahoma for a week.
Right. I wanted to ask you, when you went to the bayou, did you have anything happen down there? Or?
Well, when I went down there, it was a weekend, and I forget, there was something going on, and there was just people just every stinking where.
Mardi Gras?
No, it wasn't Mardi Gras.
No, it wasn't Mardi Gras.
But there's just people everywhere. And there really nothing I could do. I couldn't get where I wanted to go. So I had to drive way down the road and pull off. And one of the videos, you could see that I get I think, in my opinion, it was a howl, but I don't know. It's in one of my videos, Bigfoot Tracks, just a little short video I put out. There's a howl in there. I'm talking about a town called Uncertain. There's a little town down there called Uncertain. And as I'm saying uncertain, I hear this in the background. Whoa! And you can just barely catch the end of it. If you listen, put the headphones on, listen to it, you can hear the howl. Right. And I play it back 2 or 3 times. So that was pretty interesting, I thought. And I tried to get down there to where it was, but the woods were just too thick. I had to go all the way back around. By the time I got back down there was nothing around. And we've heard howls in Oklahoma too. Me and Kenny Keith was they got a deer shack down there. It's like a 1-bedroom little thing. And he was nice enough to let us stay out there in his little deer shack. And it's really nice. It's got electric in it, but you have to hook up like a generator to run the house, It's like a small house. Anyway, it had been raining all day, so me and Kenny got stuck in the house. And finally about 11 or so, it quit raining. So we said, let's go outside and get a fire going, man. Just sit by the fire. And we sat there for about 2 hours or something. And just as we was about to go back in and call it a night, from the east of us, we hear this, rah! And just a couple of seconds later, we hear, woo! And I'm like, this is just stupid crazy, you know, all this happening right here in Oklahoma. But it's when we heard that raw sound, it came from like the state park across the road, down the road. It was way off, but you could hear it was just so like it came from real low down. It was just
guttural.
Yeah, guttural. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just, and then the woo sound came from over closer to us, like across the highway from where we were.
I'd like to get a hold of some of those screens because we're going to do a little frequency thing this winter, because up here these guys disappear during the winter. Obviously, It's too cold to be out. So we're going to get a bunch of calls. We're going to try and see if they're all on the same frequencies and if they're going below the decibel level for our hearing, and if there's other stuff. So if you'd like to share, I'd definitely be interested in grabbing a few of those and getting them involved into the project.
Well, you think that I would learn that every time I go out to turn the recorder on, but somehow I just always forget to record it.
Yeah, that's what I tell everybody. I have one strapped to my backpack at all times. It's
well, from now on, when I go down to Joe's place and I go back up to Oklahoma, and then like I say, next year we're going over to Flat Rock Booger's place because he said the best time to come over is around March, so we're going to go down to his place, and I'll be more prepared about it for sure. My first footprint that I found, it was down the Sabine River bottoms, and it's in one of the videos, Sabine River bottom videos. And I took my backpack off. I've been out in the woods for 2 hours, and it was hot. I mean, so I took my backpack off, and we started coming back up out of the woods. And I said, man, that looks like a cool place. Because the river had been up. It flooded down there, and the river had been flooded up into the woods. And I said, well, if I'm going to find a track, it's going to be right out there. So I walked out there. I was out there about 45 minutes. I stepped in some mud. My shoe came off, and I stepped in with my socks, and a muddy sock and a muddy boot. And I was sweating and everything. I didn't take my backpack with me. And I was way the heck out there. And I come across this hill. And I see on the side of the hill a slide, you know, like something stepped there and slid down. And then it kind of leveled off and it went back up. When I went over and looked at it, sure enough, there's a slide here, and then the level parts where I found the footprint. And it was so muddy now, the mud where the footprint was, the mud caved in on the side of the footprint. And I got pictures of that in the video. And then the next footprint was up on the other side that slid down. So two of them you couldn't make heads or tails out of, but that one track was almost 17 inches long. So that was a heck of a find. And I didn't have my casting materials with me. So I came back the next week. I said, I'm going to go out there and find it. And I went out there and found it, and the hogs had come right through there.
Oh, yeah. I've been there too, Joe. It's heartbreaking.
But at least I got pictures of it.
Yeah, I found a handprint and didn't have a casting material. So I left the stick there, knew where it was. Next day I come back, got all the casting stuff, go out there, can't find it. Perfect. I got pictures of it. And you know what I love about you, Joe, is that everything you're talking about, after you say, it's on my video, it's on my video, it's on my video, you have documented everything you're talking about. You're not telling tall tales to everybody. You're not, if you don't believe me, go to the video.
Right.
And that's documentation is huge in this. If you don't document what you're saying, all you have is a story.
And that's what I tell her about. So I just think some people were getting tired of saying the bullshit. Sorry, the BS.
$20 to the swear jar, as Carrie would say. $20 to the swear jar.
That people were taking pictures of, you know, like dark spots in the bushes, and just taking the picture and not trying to get closer to it, or come back the next day to that same spot and take a picture of that same spot and see if that dark spot's in there. I cannot stand that. And the people that take a picture of a burnt tree stump at 200 yards away with a flip phone and try to tell me it's a Bigfoot, I can't stand that. And I can't stand it when people say they're videoing a Bigfoot and they got 3 seconds of footage and they say their battery's gone dead.
Right.
and they cut the video off at 3 seconds. If that ever happens to me, you always go in the wood, charge your batteries up before you go in the woods, and always have a backup camera. And if that happens to me, I'm following that thing. Or
Right.
I say I'm going to follow it. I might scream like a little girl and run away. There's people out there. I ain't gonna no.
Oh, I agree with you, Joe. I'm with you on all what you just said. And what most people don't know is if they're out there filming and they show you that one picture, that is if they're shooting in 60 frames per second, that's 1/60th of a second of a frame of a picture that they're claiming it to be a Sasquatch. It doesn't move. And then the next frame, it turns, it has 8 eyeballs and 3 heads, and now it's a family.
Yeah.
I know exactly. But those are the people that are getting the backing. Those are the people. I just don't understand. Like this last video we put out, I got 6 rock throws. Interaction. I don't know. And then I say in the video, I don't know who threw it, what threw it, didn't see it. But it's interaction. I'm not showing, like you said, blob pictures, and you're not showing blob pictures. You're showing footprints in the mud, and
I was sitting there watching it when that rock hit the ground. That's what got me. I'm like, that rock just hit the ground right in front of him.
Right. You were there. Yeah, you were right on film. Yeah. Oh, it was an awesome day. But I just applaud you for documenting. I think that's huge, and I think it needs to be done more. Like I said with Angie the other night, Angie's a huge documenter. She has everything on file, and even if you're not writing it down, Joe, you got it on film, and it's awesome.
People don't understand cameras. A camera doesn't do a footprint justice.
Right.
I've even laid the camera down and took pictures of it, like across to see how deep it is, but it still doesn't. It doesn't do like when you actually see the footprint.
Right. It would be nice to have that 3D scanner that the TV show had there. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It would be nice to have one of those, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That would be nice to have those toys in the areas that we get to go to.
When you're funded by a big channel, you can do stuff like that.
Right. But there's other things that don't go along with filming on a big channel that you don't get to do.
I see Mr. Lee's in the chat. Hello, Mr. Lee.
Yeah.
He's my buddy. He's got one of my t-shirts too, and he's in the UK.
Nice. Well, hello, Mr. Lee, and welcome to Discover Sasquatch. Great to have you.
I see Sharon Guy there too.
Yeah. Mike's Adventures is in the house. Brandy's in the house.
Brandy.
Nana Boss. Yeah, we got the same crowd. We have a bunch of people still with us, Joe. So we're doing something right, unless they got nothing to do tonight and they're just waiting for someone else's show to come on.
They're waiting. They don't have nothing to do till Mose gets on, I guess.
Well, thank you, Nana Boss. That's for me. Yeah, it was a great interaction. I'm glad that we got to share it with you because it was just by chance we went live on Facebook when that all happened. So, you've obviously know a lot of people, a lot more than I do, and you've heard a lot of stories. I'm interested in who do you talk about the most? Who is you?
Good or bad?
Who's that?
Good or bad?
Well, good. I mean, who do you look up to? Like you got favorite people. Like Angie is one of my favorites. I have my favorites. Who do you follow? Who do you look up to? I mean, and respect. We'll put it that way.
Justin Cherpinski from Mountain Beast Mysteries.
And why is that?
That guy's amazing, man. He's just awesome. But the stuff that he does, I mean, I guess it's good to be young and good health because he packs them, 100-pound backpack, 100 miles back up in the mountains and by himself. And I'm like, man, he puts out great videos.
Right.
He's got to be my favorite one. But Flat Rock Booger, man, like when we was at the Squatch Out, he played some of his audio of the stuff he's got. Man, Flat Rock, you need to hear some of his stuff, man. Some of that stuff he's got one growling at him, and it's just
nice.
It's just
well,
awesome.
If he's interested on being on the show, you could email me at discoversasquatch@gmail.com. Love to have you, or at least
And
love to hear the
a great
recordings.
guy too. He's a great guy too.
Yeah, from what I heard, that was a good time down there. I mean, Connor was down there, and Bud was down there, and Angie was down there, and Pat and Barb, and good old time.
Hi, Stevie B.
All right, so if you guys got questions for Joe, all in caps, please.
Bring them on. Bring them on.
Bring them on. I just want to say thank you again for stopping in our little podcast here tonight. It's very appreciated.
Hey, I was waiting for to come on, man. I was excited.
Yeah, no, I was excited too, and I'm very happy that you made it.
This might be the last show like this I do until I find some more evidence. You know, because I keep telling the same old stories over and over, and half the people that know me that's in chat have heard these stories. We had Squatch, I told the same story, so I mean they all know about it. But I want to get some better evidence. You know, I think some people are. Joe Parker's tired of hearing me say the same stuff.
Well, I mean, you got some great stuff. I mean, how could you get tired of it? Boots on the Ground with Barb says, "What's your favorite time of year to go out?"
The day after Christmas.
And why is that? Sure.
Because everybody in the United States is sitting there opening up their looking at their Christmas presents. They're not thinking about going out in the woods. They're not thinking about anything but their Christmas presents. So there's nobody out in the woods then.
Right.
And deer season's over most places by then.
Right. Now, what happens down there in the winter? Do these guys disappear like they do up here in the north, or are they active?
Well, you know, it doesn't get that cold down here like it does up there. And I think the Bigfoot down here are smaller than the ones that y'all got up there because I just can't see, 110, 120 degree weather down here, something big, hulky, covered with hair walking around.
Right.
They don't need to be because there's no mountains down here to climb like, there are up north, like in Canada, stuff like that. So I don't think there's muscular down here as they are up there.
I agree with you.
They anytime I go out to Oklahoma, it does. I've never been up there in the heat. Well, I did go up there before I went to the one in Tallahassee. I went to Three Rivers, which is by Honubia. It's spelled Honubia, which is ground zero.
Oh.
And it was supposed to be cold in October, but the heat wave came in. For 6 days, we stayed up and it was hotter than all get out. And that was the very first trip we ever did. And we didn't know what we was doing. We could have heard all kinds of stuff. We found bear prints, about 100 yards from our tent, but that's about it. And we've seen a lot of deer, but we really didn't have any interaction with anything. Oh, we could have, but I learn as I go. Right. I learned stuff that I hear now. 5-10 years ago, I would have never paid attention to.
Right.
I'm listening more to stuff going on around me. Back then, when we was just out camping, drinking beer,
Right. Do you think these guys are just flesh and blood apes, or do you think these guys got something special?
Every time I say this, I get in trouble. Somebody's gonna say something about it. I think they're just flesh and blood.
Hey, that's your opinion.
That's in my opinion. I think they're flesh and blood.
There you go. You can't get in trouble for that. All right. We got another question here for you. Where did it go? Oh, it went up a little bit. There it is. Nope. Where'd it go? I'm sorry. My right eye is still not very good. It's awful.
Well, you see, I got my eyeballs right here.
Yeah. I had a detached retina, and it's been an awful long thing. Nana Boss asked, "What's your opinion on gifting?"
There's, to me, in my opinion, I don't think gifting really works because people say like, well, I'm going to put this blue stone on here or this on there or this on here. And, crows and ravens like shiny stuff. They collect that stuff.
Yeah.
And as far as putting food on there, like on a tree stump, anything could come along and eat that. As Larry Porch said one time, he said, if I'm walking through the woods and I find a Snickers bar, I'm going to eat it.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying that. First off, I don't believe in feeding the Bigfoot. I don't, because I think it might get them dependent on somebody feeding them sweets or whatever, you know. But if I was going to gift some food, I would put it in some kind of net or something and hang it up from a tree like 8 foot in there, where like a fox or a coyote, something like that, can come along and just really just grab it off a stump, you know, or something.
Right. Yeah, we started off leaving our stuff on a rock, and then 6 years later I was putting it under the ground under rocks in Tupperware containers. And
yeah, that's a good idea, because
the rocks were
come along and get it.
The rocks were being lifted and the Tupperware was being unsnapped and everything was being taken.
That's a lot different.
Yeah.
Something has to lift that rock.
Oh yeah. You can't just leave it on the thing wide open and say, come eat it. And then we would leave the peanut butter on a stump and we would put a rock on top of it. And then we would come and the rock would be on the stump and the peanut butter would be gone.
I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at Pat.
Oh, it's all good. It's all
she
good.
Said, so my peanut butter is a fail.
Yeah. No, it's not a fail.
They put peanut butter in a jar and put it out there, and I think it's been out there for a couple of weeks and nothing's touched it. Or something like that.
Yeah. No, when I first started doing it, that we would go there and the peanut butter jar would be ripped in half. Twisted. Right. So I held it up one time and I showed them how to twist a peanut butter jar. 5 years, never found another peanut butter jar.
Oh, wow. Ever.
Anywhere in the woods. It was crazy. But again, IMO.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
That's a safe way out.
Everybody's got their own ways, and I'm not the person that can say what's right or wrong because I don't know what's right or wrong.
Oh, yeah. Nobody knows what's right or wrong. Something might work for you, might not work for me, or vice versa, you know?
Exactly. Am I going to dislike you because of it? No.
Some people will.
Yeah, some people will, and those are the people you don't want on your side.
Yeah. When I made the Squatch Out video, when we went to Squatch Out in Tennessee, all through that video, I say it's uncut, uncensored. The way I see it is the way you see it. And I didn't cut nothing out.
Right.
Well, I did cut parts up because some of my batteries ran out on my
camera. I thought you never run out of batteries.
Well, when they're sitting there talking for 3 hours.
I got you. I'm teasing.
I know. But there's right behind where we camped at, it was Labor Day weekend, matter of fact. And I don't know why they picked Labor Day weekend to go down there, because there's thousands of people. But anyway, there's a highway behind us. And you can hear the cars going, not a highway, but a road. You can hear the cars going down that road. And there's a lot of motorcycles, because it's a very scenic road. And motorcycles are going down through there. And I'll be doggone if there's some lady on there that says, man, what did y'all do? Film this by the airport? I can't hear nothing but cars going by. Like,
yeah. Always one in the bunch. That's you know what I get a kick out of? Why are you breathing so heavy? Because my backpack is 40 pounds filled with everything you could possibly bring with you. And I just climbed up the side of a mountain. That's why I'm breathing heavy.
Oh, have you seen my Squatch Out video? The one where it says I've forgotten tape? Me and my buddy Kenny and Mogs Russell, we hike up the side of the mountain, and I just got over the COVID stuff. I say it's COVID, might have been flu, and I was coughing real bad, and we hiked up the side of the mountain, and I thought I was dying, and I'm my backpack on, and I'm hiking up the side of the mountain, I can't breathe, and I got back and went to the doctor, and they asked me if I'd been coughing, and I said yeah. She said that me coughing inflamed or made my esophagus swell, so my air pipe was not as big as it was, plus not been totally healthy from the COVID, because I was only 2 weeks out of the COVID, or whatever you want to call it, and I thought I was in good enough shape, but apparently I wasn't. But man, I was huffing and puffing going up there.
Yeah. It's not easy, man, what we do. I'm telling you, it's not easy. All right. Sink or swim fishing charters asked if you had the funds, what tech would you use?
A really, really good thermal,
I
because I've
agree.
heard you buy the cheaper ones, they only go, I don't know, 50 feet maybe or something like that. I don't know if that far.
And they're pixelated to it's you're right. The most you get what you pay for.
Right. But I'd like to get one that, at least go 100 feet.
Right. Yeah. The pulsars they just came out with are pretty amazing. And they're like $3,000,
Yeah.
$3,500. And that would be nice. I have
So
a FLIR.
if anybody out there in chat wants to donate a thermal thermal camera to me, I'm more than willing to take it. Two of them.
Two of them. I need a computer too. I'll tell you what I need. I need a computer because it takes me 12 hours to render a video.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but it's
Oh,
pitiful where I live. I
it's
have to go to
awful.
my son's house to upload a video.
I have to sit down here, hold my computer, and then hold tin foil up in the air.
I don't even try anymore. Last time I tried one here, it took me a day and a half, 16 hours, and it was still like 78%.
Yeah. Yeah. I need a computer, a thermal, and a new camcorder is what I need, but it'll come. So, winter's coming, overtime's coming, so be all set.
Right, when I make all that money, when I get monetized.
Yeah, you get that $30 a month.
I might be able to put one on layaway if they got like a 5-year layaway.
Is the Tennessee Squatch out always at the same campground?
That was the first one.
The
very first one. And they're planning on doing another one, but I think we're not going to go to the same place. We might go down to Blue-Eyed Northern's place around in there.
I might make the journey.
Alabama Flat Rock Booger's place down around there. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, I might make the journey this year. I might make that journey because I heard a lot of good things about it. So I'm not up into crowds of people and all that, but camping and campfires and eating and yeah, that sounds like a good time.
One of the neat things about the Squatch that was that the other campers around there would come up to us and ask us questions. They were interested about what we were doing around there. Mm-hmm. And it was really cool to see that, and especially in one of the videos, I got a bunch of the young kids coming up there, and they came up to meet the Q&A thing, and they were asking questions in the Q&A thing.
Oh, nice!
Some young kids, and I thought that was pretty neat that they would, some younger people would come up, and none of them said they didn't believe, but some of them said they didn't know if they believed, which I can understand that.
Joe, what do you think it's going to be the end all? What is it going to take?
A body. That's all it can be. And there's one guy that I know that says he's killed 3 of them.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about too.
And if he did, he could have ended it all, everything, all the hoaxes. He could have ended it
3 times.
The first one.
Ugh. Could you do it? Could you pull the trigger?
I don't think so. I know if I was being attacked or somebody, even family members or somebody I didn't know, if I seen one being attacked, yeah. That's the only way I could.
Right. The defense, yeah. I was asked that the other night. If I had the end all, what would you do with it? I couldn't even answer. I don't even know if I would, what I would do.
Have you ever watched my video, Dead Bigfoot? I asked the question. I just put the question out there. What would you do if you found a dead Bigfoot? And that's my bit. I got over 10,000 views on that, and I don't know how many people comment and tell me what they would do.
Right.
And I think Kerry Arnold, I think he came up with a good thing. He said that he would get on his phone and go on YouTube Live and videotape until the battery in his camera ran out.
Right.
And there's no way they could say that wasn't real, because how many people watch Kerry's show?
Right. Why do you think that you can't find a body? Why do you think it just don't stumble upon? Do you think they bury their dead?
Yeah, I think they bury him. I sit there. It's been a few years. I watched at the Sam Houston College. They did an experiment. They got a dead deer and took it out in the middle of the woods, and they staked it down. Put the wires around its leg like this, stake
I
to the
seen
ground.
that. Yeah.
And within a month, it was gone. The whole thing was gone.
Yeah, gone.
Bones and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was pretty wild.
Yeah, they did time lapse, and I'm like, I think like dogs. Sometimes when they go to die, they'll go find a really secluded place and die. So I think there's a rogue Bigfoot, and I do think I don't think all Bigfoots live in families. I think there's rogue ones out there. I think one would just go find the deepest, darkest place he could to die, and then nature take care of itself. But I think if there's more than one around, I think they bury him.
You think they're organized? You think they have family units? Do you think it's a tribe or of you know what I mean, 10 of them in a place, or you think it's just 1, 3, 4?
I think there are families, but like I say, I think there's rogue ones too. I don't think all of them are together. People say most of the time, like if you shot a Bigfoot, it's not the big dead Bigfoot you shot, it's the one watching. Well, I don't think all the time there's another one around. That could be just the one.
And how would they know that? They say that don't shoot one because you never make it out. How do you know that? You don't know that.
Yeah. Nobody knows everything about it.
No. Right. It could only be an IMO.
IMO.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to make a T-shirt. And it's going to have a picture of a Sasquatch on it, and it's going to say IMO under it.
Exactly.
Hey, maybe that'll get us our new thermals.
That's right.
All right. Anybody want to purchase an IMO Sasquatch shirt? Leave us a link tonight. Send us an email. We'll start selling them.
Yeah.
All right, we got time for a couple more questions, and we're going to let Joe go on with his night here. Anybody got any questions?
I know Barry's got to say something. I see Barry Browning over there. Barry, ask me a question.
He's saying hi to everybody.
There's Bigfoot Bud.
Yeah, Bud's been. I like Bud and Angie are awesome. I love them too.
They're really nice people. And what's so good about the Squatchin? I got to put faces with names.
Right. Yeah,
awesome.
They're awesome people. They're they're on my team for the 138 or 168. I mean 168, the second one.
Right.
I got a pretty good little team going, so we're excited if it happens in the springtime.
Y'all got a date when y'all are going down there?
No, we don't got any dates yet. There's a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot of work to put all that together. And here we go. We'll take this from Connor. Oops, no. Hey, Toby. That's the wrong one. It clicked up on me. Bigfoot Anonymous, tell us about seeing the Phoenix lights.
Connor, my buddy.
He's going to be on the he's going to be on the show in 3 weeks.
I'll tell you what, but before you get Connor on there, give him a 6-pack of Bud Light so he'll slow down a little bit, and you'll be all right.
I'm just going to put me on pause, and Connor's going to run his own show. And then I'm going to come back in an hour, and then I'm going to end the show.
I'll tell you what, Connor is a lot different in person. I think he tries to say everything he can within that hour that you got. So that's why he talks like he does.
Right.
But when you meet him in person, he doesn't talk like that.
Yeah, it's all good.
He's a good guy. I love him.
Yeah,
I give him a hard time, but me and him can go back and forth with each other. But at the end of it, we're still buddies.
Right. That's the way it should be. That's how it is. I mean, you gotta, like I said, nothing's written in stone. It's not written in stone. Nothing.
And if you want me to, I'll tell you about my experience with the Phoenix Light.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, we got to talk about Connor. I was driving a truck at the time, and I was coming back from California, and it was getting late, and I just came over into Arizona, and I parked maybe 20 miles out of Phoenix. on the desert, they had a place out there where big trucks could park. Well, not just big trucks. There was campers and everything else can park out there. But I pulled out there and parked. And as usual, I called my wife to say bye and I love you and all stuff like this. And while I'm sitting there talking to my wife, these lights come over the mountain in a V. They form a V right over the top of the mountain, all different colors. And then they flew off, and they started going off in different shapes and everything. And it lasted about 10 or 15 minutes. And they just flew back off the side of the mountain and I never seen them again. And I was sitting there talking to my wife, like, you guys see this, you guys see this. And then, I don't know, maybe 6 months later, I was looking on YouTube and sure enough, there's the Phoenix Lights on YouTube, the video of YouTube, the Phoenix Lights. So anybody says the Phoenix Lights were BS, I'm saying BS because I was there. I seen it.
What do you think they were?
There wasn't no flares because they were going sideways and they would go up and they'd form a V and they'd fly over the mountain and all different colors. So it wasn't no flares and there wasn't no sound.
What do you think they were?
Unidentified flying objects.
Yep.
Because I couldn't identify them. They were flying and they were objects.
What's the craziest thing you've seen doing all this, being in the woods all the time? What's the craziest thing you have seen?
Oh, man. That's a tough one. I don't know. Craziest thing. Probably that, I don't know, that stick structure that you showed a picture of the other day, earlier.
Here, I'll put it up right now.
Like I say, it was so out of place on the side of that mountain. And the two big trees, I looked around, there's no stumps around there, so I don't know where they came from.
Well, it looks like there's no trees above it either. It looks like it's like in a little open circle. So
I'll tell you another weird thing. Me and Kenny walked up the side of this mountain, and it was getting late, and we didn't have our flashlight, so we said, "Well, we're going back down." I said, "Well, let's get off the trail and follow." There was a creek way down the side of the mountain. So let's go down that creek and follow that creek down the side of the mountain. And when we got down to the creek, it's in the video too, so can't say anything about it. It was in that video, Bigfoot tracks of mine too. In the creek, which is probably 3 foot deep, maybe, there looks like bricks, like a brick house. She's a brick house. In the water, it was about 4 foot long and about 3 foot high. In the water on the side, and the mountain came down to like this into the creek. And we're way the hell up in the middle of nowhere. So why are them bricks down in that? And they were probably 12 inches long, like they were cut out of stone, but they were square. Right. And they were all put together like they were cemented together. So I don't know how in the world they got there. So that was pretty weird.
Nice. Yeah. All right, here we go. I think you already answered this, but we'll let him do it again. Barry's asking you a question.
I'll look up to Barry Browning.
Yeah, there you go. What researchers do you look up to, or which have had the most impact on you?
Oh, like I say, Justin, probably. But for people that, and I'm friends with Justin too. He wanted me to come up here, and I said, yeah, one of these days, maybe when I hit the lottery. Man, as far as researchers, I don't know. There's so many of them. Like Flat Rock Booger, man. That stuff that I heard from him and his videos and stuff, man. That's pretty exciting stuff to me. And the stuff what happened to you, like I say that when I seen that rock come out there and hit by that fire pit, I'm like, my God, this. I mean, all the rest of the stuff I couldn't see it, but I could hear the stuff like coming through the woods.
Right, yeah.
I couldn't see anything.
That's why we had the audio recorders
right there
going.
By that fire pit, I'm like, I've seen that rock hit right there.
Yep.
And that's where all your friends are behind you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, everybody was behind me. I was the only one that was right there. Yeah, that squirrel was going nuts.
Yeah,
we could hear
barking.
We could hear it walking up the hill, and that
Yeah,
squirrel was just
you could say there's something moving out there coming up the hill, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden that rock comes down, hits by that fireplace. I'm like, that's just
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I have a newfound respect for you, my friend. Tonight, I've heard a lot of good things about you, and being able to talk to you.
I'm just a fella looking for Bigfoot. I ain't
Yeah,
nothing special.
me too, and that's what's impressive because you document it all, and you're humble, and that's exactly the way you should be doing it.
Can I answer Connor right quick?
Sure.
Connor, you know what my email is? Riding Fences 22. Who wore the number 22 in Dallas Cowboys? And that's your answer.
I know the answer.
Emmitt Smith, the all-time NFL leading rusher.
Yeah. When I was watching Dallas Cowboys play, it was Tony Dorsett was the running back, and wow, who was the quad? Don't tell me the quarterback's name. I got to remember.
Oh, come on now.
I can see him.
Hail Mary.
He looked like a bird. Oh, what was his name? You're gonna have to tell me. I forgot.
Roger Staubach.
Staubach. Roger Staubach, right?
Captain Comeback.
Yeah, I was a Redskin fan back then. Joe Theismann, John Riggins.
Sorry
Dave
to hear
Butts,
that, man. Sorry for you.
The Hogs.
I have
Good
some of the
times.
best games back there. Cowboys and Redskins back then.
Oh yeah,
That's
it was
when
awesome.
that's when they really got down and dirty back then.
Oh
man.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Nowadays you see them after the game all shaking hands and everything. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
shake his head.
Yeah.
Rip his head off. They don't do none of that stuff anymore. They're signing each other's jerseys and giving it to them. I thought, oh, come on. Quit that.
Well, I want to thank you very much, Joe, for taking time out of your night and coming
No
on
problem,
the podcast.
Alex. I enjoyed it.
I had a great time. I had a really great time. It was awesome talking to you, get to know you, and we will continue to stay in contact for sure.
Yes, sir.
We'll keep on keeping on doing what we're doing. All right. Well, we're going to say goodnight to Mr. Joe Pass. Thank you very much for being with us. You got any words? I want to ask you one more question. If you had any advice to someone just starting off going to look for these guys, what would that be?
Always be recording. From the minute you pull up to the place, before you get out of your car, don't be like me. Turn a recorder on. Because I've heard so many things lately that when people get out of the car and shut their door, they hear something. I've been hearing that a lot lately, that as soon as they shut their door, people hear something behind them or in the woods around them.
Yep.
Always be recording.
We actually leave one on top of the car when we get in certain spots too. That's a great advice, and you guys should take it because it's 100% true. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Pass, the Squatchin Cowboy.
Bye, everybody.
I'll see you backstage, Joe.
All right.
Well, what a show again. I love doing this. I love meeting new people, and everything everybody told me about Joe, he lived right up to every expectation that I had. It was an awesome show. I will leave links to everything from Joe's channel tomorrow when this goes live, or when I can add stuff. It's usually the next day. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody, as always, for taking time out of their Tuesday night to step in and say hello. And the next show will be November 2nd. It'll be our Halloween special, and I have Mr. Carl Crew who will be on the show. If you guys take the last name Crew and put it to the Bigfoot world, we are going to hear something that 99% of you do not know about the PG film. It's only been let out one other show, and now it's going to be let out on Discover Sasquatch. It is pretty cool. It'll let you know that they didn't go on a wing and a prayer, and it's coming out on November 2nd. And like I said, after that, Connor from Bigfoot Anonymous will be on the next week. So we got 2 more great shows coming your way. Thanks again. And as always, Larry puts it, get in the woods, people.